Aye, aye, aye. Welcome to the Therapy Lounge. Yours truly, Dr. Jada Soca Prince in the building. And this is where, we kind of go behind the scenes, unveil some layers when it comes to soca music, the artists, the personalities, DJs, everybody in the scene. And today it's an honor to be here with Get Full Blown on the telephone,
Come
live
on.
inside the studio. How you guys doing, man?
We good, we good.
We good. We here, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no scene, no scene. So you
Yeah,
could
man.
introduce yourself to everybody on the outside for people who aren't familiar with the siblings.
All
You
right,
could tell
well,
us who you are, full blown, the whole vibe.
I'm the younger brother. My name is Corey.
Yeah, you like to act like the older one. You always talking first. You wouldn't give me a chance. But I'm Kevin. I'm the older one.
And there's what, like a 4 year gap?
Yes.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. And who is like the main singer, the main writer, or is it just a collaborative straight down the line?
I mean, I would like to say we collab on everything, but I would do most of the singing. I think it started that way because when we were just writing alone, like I would sing all the demos.
Okay.
So I think naturally, I guess, kept on doing it and got more comfortable, doing a lot of the singing.
Right.
But I'm not allowed to do anything he doesn't okay. So it's still a collab.
So basically, how does the whole process work? Because I assume you have your guide vocals that you would send to artists. When you guys are writing, is it something where you always have somebody in mind, or is it you just have songs and you kind of shop it after the fact? How does it work?
Usually we try to create with blank canvas,
Okay.
and we just let the vibe take us to wherever it leads. Try to get the best song possible from the vibe, and then we kind of see, well, all right, maybe it could fit the range of this artist, or maybe this artist doesn't even know that they could do this, so we should try to push it to them to try and get them to do something new, something that their fans would want from them. So it's different ways we approach it, but that's after we create from the blank canvas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was reading your very first soca that you wrote. It was Vibes Can't Done on the
Yes.
Antilles rhythm. And how did this come about? You were working with Casey, I guess, from Precision
Yeah,
Productions.
yeah.
He mentored. Like, how did that, I guess, all come together? Did you guys grow up together? Like, how did you even link up with Casey?
Corey was the link, so he could tell that story.
Okay.
Yeah, we got introduced through some mutual friends. Actually, the guys who I went to school with who introduced me to music, to producing music and that kind of thing. They used to always talk on MSN Messenger with Casey and Nikolai. So
That's how we know it's back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So one day we had a studio session to record something random because we were doing like reggae and R&B and hip hop and that kind of thing. So we had a recording session because this song that we were working on, we wanted to record it professionally. Went down there and we recorded, and Casey and they were recording us. And then the second time around, Kevin went to record a R&B song. And after we recorded, Casey was like, "You all have some talent, and you all write good songs. You ever think about writing soca?" So we were like, "Nah, we don't want to do that." And I think a few times after that, he kept asking us about writing soca. And then another session we had, he gave us a CD with I think 3 instrumentals. One was the Antilles Rhythm,
Okay.
and that was the one Kevin gravitated to. He took the CD home, and he wrote to the Antilles Rhythm, and he wrote Vibes Garden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And at that time, so Casey was the one who said, well, I feel Marshall is the one, or like, because I would assume you didn't think.
Yeah, now well we just sent the song and we didn't know what would happen with it. I wasn't even sure if it was good.
Okay.
I'll be honest, because it was the first soca, like real soca song that we ever wrote. And then Casey actually shopped it to one or two artists
Okay.
Mhm.
who turned it down.
Okay. Okay.
Right? We wouldn't call the names.
Okay.
Right? But artists even outside of Trinidad,
I'll see. Okay.
big artists here. And yeah, they
You
turned
know
it
I'm gonna
down.
need to know the name.
Huh?
At least one of the two names. You give me one of the two?
One was actually, let's know, Blacks was one?
I don't know if he was one of those. I believe Rupi was one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rupi was one.
Okay.
Rupi
yeah.
was one.
So the song didn't find a home, and we just kind of forgot about it.
Mhm.
And then one day, randomly, Casey sent us a short video clip. It was probably like
Mhm.
7 seconds of Marshall recording the song in his
Wow.
in his studio in LA.
Yeah.
And well, we went mad
Yeah.
because I couldn't believe
for your first song is
Yeah,
Marshall.
that
Like,
Marshall was going to do the song. It was crazy. Because the year before, when he had, I think that's the year he had Advantage in Soca Monarch. We were with our family watching Soca Monarch, and we had this game we play where we used to dress up as soca artists.
oh,
And I dress up as Marshall.
serious.
Yeah. And all kind of things.
I was Jaiga.
Jaiga and
my
Crazy.
sister was Crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think he had wet. Baby, when you wine.
Cold sweat.
I think cold sweat.
Yeah.
I think he had that. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we were doing the year before. So to actually get a placement with Marshall just a few months after, it wasn't even a full year because Carnival didn't reach around yet.
Right.
Like it was a crazy feeling. But yeah, it's true. It started with us just going on by Casey to record, kind of random songs, if you want to put it that way, that we were doing.
And I'd catch.
Yeah.
Wow. And obviously the connection with you and Marshall, or both of you and Marshall, has been well documented because you guys have written some very big tunes that have become anthems for him. Like some of my favorite of all, like The Fog, Epic. I mean, we could go down the line. I know I'm going to forget some, but it's real tunes.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, because personally, we have met from you managing or helping out other artists in the past. And I think it was Nessa when we first actually connected, and we were bringing her for, might have been Return Fete, I think. Yes. And you guys came up with her and other artists that you guys have worked with. Do you find it's more difficult working with the younger unknown or established artists like Marshall? Because I would think it's intimidating, but with the amount of times you worked with Marshall, clearly there's some kind of familiarity and ease with that as well.
My answer would be is actually easier for us to work with the more seasoned artists who would have a better vision of where they want to go and what they want for their careers next. I think the younger artists most times feel pressured to just get established. So sometimes they let the breeze blow them here and there because they think, well, all right, I need to do this to get a big song. I need to do that. The more seasoned artists not really looking for a big song. They're looking for a legacy. They're looking to, do things that would make them be considered a visionary. And they know that we don't really approach soca from the typical viewpoint. We write from a different perspective. So they kind of guarantee that they're going to get something unique from us. And I think that's why they are more receptive to our ideas. Whereas the younger artists, even the soca audience may not receive those same songs if it was sung by a younger artist. But when the Marshalls or the Kess or the Cohen Dubois, when they sing it, it's taken differently because it's like, this real different.
Right. So they could take more of a risk.
Yeah.
Oh. I also feel like younger artists sometimes they're a bit reluctant maybe to invest in the craft. Something I kind of question. Like I remember when we were starting up, and nothing was coming for free, and we weren't making any money, $0, but we had to, all those songs that we was talking about before Vibes Get and that we was going by Casey to record, like we had to pay for
Full
studio
price.
time
Full
and
price,
do what we do. I mean, making $0 off that. But we were honing our craft. I mean, if you want to do songwriting, if you want to do music in general, you have to invest somewhere. And I feel like plenty of people have this feeling like soca is a kind of thing where you just get a big song and you get through and you become a millionaire or something. I don't know what is the vision that they have for themselves, but they kind of want to jump over a few steps that very necessary. And I think the investing part, you want a song, you're not writing it for yourself. Well, then how are you going to get a song? What do you think you have to do? Right, but a lot of the more established artists, they already understand the what it takes and what they'll have to invest. They probably have more of a budget, yes, too. I understand that.
For sure, yeah.
But, I don't see a lot of the younger artists really investing in themselves like I probably think they should.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I remember I saw a few different podcasts and interviews online where I think there was a reggae artist and he was talking about how he doesn't see in the soca community people bringing up the younger artists with them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
that
saw
happens
that.
in that. So
I
you
saw
saw that
that,
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because I feel like when there were the age of bands, that is really where you would see younger artists, because that is generally the
Yeah.
front line.
Yeah.
You know, it would be some of the younger, and they're doing covers, and that's how they kind of hone in their
Yeah,
craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those days are kind of done, because for even a promoter like myself, I mean, we're doing it for a show with A-Team, but generally speaking, it's artist to tracks, because you would
Yeah.
rather put, instead of flying in 10, 12 people, put that money, instead of giving it to the airline,
Yeah.
we find 2 or 3 other artists and let everybody come and
Yeah.
do it to tracks,
Yeah.
right? And it's not feasible for you now to say, okay, well, AJ, you know, I know you're paying for us, but I need you to book 3 more flights, because we had 3 young artists coming with us,
Yeah.
and it might take a little bit of your stage time.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How are we doing that?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how do you see that side of it, where we need, obviously, the culture and the community to grow? We want the industry to grow. But at the same time, if, as you're saying, working with some younger artists, they're not willing to invest or don't understand what it takes to invest,
Right.
then how do we, I guess, keep it moving forward for them to understand
Yeah. Yeah.
that this is necessary, I guess?
I think it's a very difficult task, it's a difficult conversation. But it's a very circular one, where the soca audience needs to give the music a fair chance.
Mhm.
The promoters need to be brave and not just try to book the biggest songs, and they need to give the artists a chance as well.
Right.
The artists and them need to invest in themselves. The DJs need to be brave as well and not just play the same songs because they're getting the most forward. So it's all about giving people a fair chance and kind of spreading the love, because the carnivals that we mostly would appeal to, there's plenty space for plenty of the newer artists to grow, to get a stage, to get a performance, even if it's for free, even if it's just to show your face and let people get familiar with who you are and what you have to offer. But sometimes they can't get to perform for free.
Right.
You
Right,
understand? Plenty times they don't want to perform for free. They feel like they shouldn't start there.
Mhm.
So it's a back and forth. But I think it would take everyone coming together and realizing if we need to take soca further, we need to holistically kind of put our heads together and say, well, all right, cool, we need to do this, do that together.
Mhm.
Where, okay, we might make less money here, but in the long run, the genre would be mainstream. And if
Mhm.
that's the goal, then yeah, we all need to chip in and do something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, for full blown, is that your goal? Like, do you see it as, we want to take this mainstream, win a Grammy, Billboard, like that type of thing? Is that the vision?
Yes, sir, for sure.
Okay.
I guess Kevin might be able to talk more on it, but for me personally, yeah.
I think that's the vision, yes, for sure.
Mhm.
I don't know who will be the one winning whatever Grammy and all that. Like, that to me is secondary. One of the main reasons for me why I am doing what I do is to show that there are options in soca. I feel like for years, so many people thought there was just this one way to do it. And maybe it's because they looked at those artists who were successful and they had similarities with the way they were presenting their stage shows and things like that. But I feel like we have such diversity and youths coming up like Jimmy October and Kutain and Choppy and these guys, they are not Marshall or Kess or Full Blown, or we are not Bungie, or like, there's so much diversity, but then you get to a point where I feel like people feel forced to present things a certain way. Like, you
from the time you
have
hit
to
the
run on the
stage,
stage and wave a rag, or you have to make people jump, or else
you can't perform.
didn't do it.
you ain't
Yeah.
doing it good.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that no way. And we are different, and we brave, I would say. I mean, in terms of presenting things the way we want to do it. That's what we're gonna do. Full stop. And it doesn't matter if somebody thinks we should do it another way. That's your opinion, fine. But we want to show that it could be done another way and you could still be successful. You could be yourself within, and it's still soca. You know what I mean? We're not running away from that soca that in us. You know what I mean? But that is one of the main reasons I doing it. It's not really about fame or the money or anything like that. Like I feel like some of these guys coming up, they're too talented to just be on a kind of back burner because we focusing so much on carnival and jump up, and then what these guys doing getting lost in the sauce now. Like that, like I want there to be a movement where people show, okay, we could do this, we could do acoustic, we could do like just different types of shows, you know what I mean, that would appeal to different people in different parts of the world too, you know what I mean. Not everybody know what a carnival is. If all the songs are about the road, some people don't know what you mean the road. You mean like the streets, like what?
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that is why I doing what I doing right now. Like I just want to show, yo, it's so much more to soca than what people might think is no, just festival music, no.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, from time, again, I've known you guys personally on a different level from working with like even Hotline Rhythm. Like there's things where when I play it, people are like, yo, that real bad. But it never really catch for whatever reason, right? Maybe it was too different, too hybrid, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, down the line of Night Shift Rhythm, Palm Wine, obviously, you know, you've produced rhythms, and then for whatever reason, it's Big Links that catch.
Yeah.
So what do you see as the difference? Was it just adding the zest? Was it just timing? Was it when you released the songs? Like, what do you think it was that made this catch versus past releases?
For me, I would say, I mean, is a bunch of different things, elements that came together. But to me, the main one was who we chose to be on the rhythm.
Okay.
You would get the listeners to, because like if you have the Marshall and the Kess, then people automatically like, all right, this is the next thing.
For sure.
Right. Like I have to give this a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Give it a fair chance. The DJs would give it a fair chance, the radio stations, the listeners, and so then they would realize, all right, I like how this sounding. This sounding like soca, but it's sounding different. Whereas if it was that same rhythm but a different cast, it may not have gotten the reception that it got. Our song, definitely, we always believed that our song was strong, Good Spirits, but if it was a different cast, we may not have ever gotten the time for people to soak it in and say, you know what, I like the message of the song, I like the melodies or whatever, because they may have moved on to a next rhythm, Heroes Rhythm or something. That is one of my favorite rhythms as well. And that's how the carnival is. Like you have a little while to catch the audience, and if not, they're going to move on because they want to have their favorites before Carnival Monday and Tuesday come around.
Right.
So thankfully we kind of move smart with this one. Yeah. And we keep the best song for ourselves.
So, okay, how did this whole creative spark? Because I've seen different things online because there's a whole bacchanal with the zesting and whatever. But how did the actual creative journey come about? Because I'm really curious about, because the fact, in case you don't know, you know, these two gentlemen, Full Blown Entertainment, they wrote every song, they produced the rhythm.
Yes, sir.
So did you already know when you wrote each song who you were writing it for? Or was this, again, the blank canvas like you mentioned before?
So, yeah, it started with the blank canvas. We were in studio together. He was sitting to the back. I was starting to produce. Got the chord progression, started to do the drums, and it was a nice soca rhythm. And then he was like, why don't try that zest sample, the kind of pattern with the tablas? I was like, what? Because I wasn't hearing what he was hearing at all. I was in my zone. And I say, all right, because I know that Tano and Marshall used it for Marshall's Calypso Monarch winning song.
Yes. Okay.
The year before. So I reached out to Tano and I was asking him to send that little loop to me because they designed their own version of the zest loop.
Okay.
Right? So Tano sent it to me, and when I got the file, I warped it to fit the timing, and it fit perfectly. And I looked back at him, he looked at me, and he was like, yeah, that's it. And so now it was just so different, but still you would hear the guitars, you would hear the groovy soca in it, but it had an edge to it. And so we finished with just the beat, and I emailed it to him. He went home and he wrote Good Spirits.
That was the first song.
And yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
he wrote Good Spirits, and he was like, "Yeah, this is ours," and it was supposed to be a single.
Mm.
And I would let him take it from there.
Yeah. Well, I kept thinking about, I mean, other songs that we released prior, and songs that I personally at the time thought were better songs than Good Spirits in terms of the lyrics, in terms of the message.
Like Wasi, we talking.
Like Wasi, like Full of Love. I still
Right.
feel like Full of Love is one of our strongest
It's
songs.
a very big tune. Yeah.
Like I love the song, you know. But I mean, whatever. I was thinking for whatever reason, those songs,
right.
people always say it's good songs, they're nice, we like them, you know what I mean? But it didn't reach the level of like a hit song at the point in time when it was released. So I mean, why? The question is why these songs were just flying under the radar now.
Mhm.
So I was thinking, okay, bro, let's try to do a song for Marshall and make it probably a 2-song rhythm. That's the first thing came to my head because we were working a lot with Marshall at the point in time too. I mean, well, we always working with Marshall anyway. But so yeah, we did the shoot.
Mhm.
That was the next one we did, and Marshall liked it. Well, he heard our song first, and he was like, "I wonder if I'd take the song from Ole." No, no. But he liked the truth, and so we felt good there. But then we thinking, okay, because of that Zest sample in it, like maybe we could try to get one of the Zest artists.
Okay.
And funny enough, like maybe some weeks before, we was talking to First Class, and he was telling us that young brother could really sing. We had no idea that he could actually sing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we said, well, all right, let me reach out to young brother and see what he's sing. And Corey reached out to them. They came into the studio, the young brother and his manager, and we played the rhythm for them. And to be honest, like when they heard it, they were saying, boy, people always coming with thing with zesting every time, boy. So I ain't know about this. And then we played the demo for Free Like a Bird, which they released after.
Yeah.
That's the one they fell in love
Yeah.
with first. So they're like, this for sure. We want that. Because they felt like it was forward now. It's not just pure soca carnival thing. So I kind of was deflated. Because I was thinking we would get him on the rhythm and he would write his own song. So we don't even have to do like extra work now.
Right.
But they tell us, well, all you had to write a song, if anything, for us to come on the rhythm. We had a studio session with Kes soon after. And we started vibes in the rhythm and we came up with the idea for No Sweetness in that session with Kes and Tano.
Okay.
And then we finished up the song by ourselves after. So that was the third song. So we had 3. And I keep telling them, Corey, I feel we could stop at the 3, boy. Better we stop at the 3 because the Care 4th song don't make sense. But as time went on, we just keep like something telling me we have to get Young Brother on it. And a night, I was in the studio. He went out to get food, I think. And I end up inside the studio by myself. And I got the let me cater to you as I cater to me as an intro.
Okay.
And then the chorus is the greatest man. I had those 2 parts. He came in the studio, I played for him, and he was like, wow, this bad, this in the intro here, this need to come back all the time. So we shorten the verses, bring back that every time, and we had the song there and then. We had the 4. When we sent it to Young Brother and them, it was like, all right, cool. Nah, that's how they felt. Like, all right, cool, all right. And that was it. He did all the artwork, everything. Like, we worked real hard on this rhythm, I wouldn't lie. And I think the results show the effort we put into it, to be honest. We always work hard, but this time I feel like we really get what we deserve based on what we put into it now. Yeah, for sure.
Actually, up to the day before the rhythm was released, we were on a family vacation cruise.
Okay.
The cruise was ending in Martinique. And you know how the Wi-Fi is beyond them cruise ships.
Horrible, yeah.
And I have to send masters to Monk Music. I have to do the artwork and send animation, the lyric videos, all those things. And I trying to WeTransfer and Dropbox, and it was headache.
Pain.
And I mean, we got it done, but it was definitely the hardest we worked on our project in our entire career in music. And so it is really good to see that it paid off this way, because I mean, people calling it maybe arguably the best rhythm in soca ever. And so I just happy that we in that conversation.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Like, I know there's always going to be like a recent bias. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure.
I get
For
that,
sure,
right?
for
I get
sure.
that. And there will be some people who will be biased against it because it's
Right.
recent,
Of
right?
course.
But I was seeing somebody talk about, greatest rhythms, and people mention Antilles,
Antilles,
for
yeah.
sure.
can rhythm. There's always going to be a bunch,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But when I talk to the people one-on-one, I'm like, listen, you can go back however far you want to go, right? It is very rare for you to see 4 songs on one rhythm, all chart,
Yeah.
Bangers.
all 4.
Yeah.
Usually one might get squeezed out.
Yeah.
Right.
Even with Antilles, right? Depending
Yeah.
on who's DJing.
Yeah.
Maybe the Irfan
Yeah.
don't play. Maybe the
Nadia,
Nadia don't
yeah,
play.
yeah.
But definitely you have the Kerwin and the Masha,
Yeah.
right? With the 2 a.m. project, obviously Shal did well.
Right.
The Kess and Patrice will play.
Right.
Sometimes they play the problems. Sometimes they
Right.
don't play.
Yeah.
Like, it's always
Yeah.
going to be something. But usually, as you mentioned, it's 2 or 3 that will score. So,
Right.
like, I remember Purple Heart Rhythm, Nadia and
Right.
Fama.
Yeah.
Both of them
Yeah.
gone,
Yeah.
right? Because it's 2.
Yeah.
So you could juggle that. But
Yeah.
anytime you have 4 or more,
Get
one does get
shaky.
squeezed.
Yeah.
Always push out. And this one, geez, on ages, everything had to play.
Yeah.
You have to play the brother. You have to play. And it's funny you mentioned too about how, I guess, Good Spirits got enough time, because it almost felt like it was, when you watch people racing, it's like there's somebody that is in the cut,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it take
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it almost felt from the outside, from being in Toronto and seeing what's going on in Trinidad. Okay, people love the mashup. People love the cast. Obviously, Young Brother was far in the lead too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody online is a good spirit,
Yeah.
and it gone.
Yeah.
Is that how it felt in Trinidad as well?
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
100%.
A lot of people was giving us that feedback. Or this song gonna be the biggest on the rhythm, or at least one of the biggest, top 2. And people were saying that early on, when our song was hardly even really playing, because they would play it because they like the argument, I guess. But still, DJs would be hesitant because they don't really know us like that.
Right.
And so they gravitate towards the bigger names. But listeners were like, nah, boy, that song speak to me. People coming up to us and saying they have anxiety, and that song has helped them through the anxiety, and like things that we would have never imagined. But it just went to show that the song was more powerful than we even thought.
Yeah.
And I guess that is what gave it legs as well, because the more people heard it, the more it resonated with them.
Yeah.
And so, the rest was history.
Yeah, man. And it's funny you mentioned about like the argument aspect of it, right? Because I remember talking when it first came out to some DJs, and they were afraid to co-sign initially because they thought it would look like, okay, well, I'm going against a certain
Yeah,
artist because of
yeah.
that.
Taking sides.
So right, and I was like, a big tune is big tune. Don't read into it. Like, just allow it. Like,
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, I mean, Voice was a part of Full Blown.
Yes.
You guys were all together. If you could explain to, I guess, everybody how that came about, because there's 2 brothers, to have a third person in, like, how did this whole
Right.
connection with Voice start, I guess?
Right. So when Full Blown Entertainment started, there was actually 3 members. So it was 2 of us and an old schoolmate of mine
Okay.
named Nathaniel. He's a gospel artist now. But he was maybe the most instrumental in helping us hone our craft as musicians.
Not
Because
maybe the most
yeah,
instrumental.
he's proper musician. He does, like, he's a one-man band. He's a vocalist, producer, writer. So yeah, we spent countless nights just up working late, working on random stuff that we know would never be released, but just getting better.
Right.
And eventually he went off to do gospel. But his younger brother was in class with Voice. And his younger brother used to, like, they used to be linemen home, and he would be kind of, eavesdropping and realizing, like, Voice has some talent. So he brought him to us, and he was like, boy, these are the best people I could bring you to. If you want to be an artist, let them fellas work with you. So he brought Voice to us, and we began writing for him. The first song was for a school competition that QRC had that he wanted to enter. He was still in school as well. And so we wrote a song named Detention.
Okay.
and there was a power soca. We produced and wrote it. He went and he won the competition. And he was happy. So he came back the next day. He wanted to go into Synergy Soca Star. So he wrote Alien for him, wrote and produced Alien. And he came second that year. And
They
then
rob him.
yeah, they really rob him. And Jaiga was the head judge. I don't understand it.
Never forgive him.
But yeah, so for Synergy Soca, that was the first time we actually saw him perform.
Okay.
And we were like, nah, but you're bad. And we would like to work with you some more. And so ever since then, we kept writing and producing for him. But the transition from the schoolboy soca to the big leagues was difficult because, he's small in size too, and he very young at that time. So then we devised a plan and we say, you know what, come and learn to write. Because we are already well respected as writers. Come and learn to write with us. And, you would meet people, you would start to know people, the industry would start to respect you. And then maybe they might show you more love as an artist.
Okay.
And so we taught him how to write songs. And so he started to write with us. And then, which led up to Chase to Life, which is a song that he wrote mainly on his own. Kevin helped him finish it up and that kind of thing. And then from Chase to Life was where his career kicked off. Yeah.
And at that point, that's when everything kind of separated between you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the song does have some truth where you guys, not at him, but there was like just about the situation. Is that what you would say?
It wasn't that situation in isolation, to be honest. The song was just about life. So our life in music, but as well as our personal lives. You always meet people who sometimes they don't deal with situations the way you think they would.
Right.
They would have or they should have. Sometimes they judge people based on what you would have done. So, and you sing about it, you sing about your feelings, you sing about the fact that you feel you do you are wrong here, or you feel you do you are wrong there. And so naturally we were inspired. Well, Kevin was inspired to write that song because we've been through a lot in this industry.
Yeah.
In life too. In life. Me personally, I feel like I've been through that many times. So like the point of the song is not about somebody else. The song is about us.
Right.
You understand? I don't want people to lose track of what we talking about here.
You see,
The song is about us.
people saying they call it this song and the baddest this song, and I want to know where we diss anybody that have nothing. People forgetting what this means. This means disrespect. You understand? We're not disrespecting it. We're telling our truth. The song is about the fact that we felt that we were wrong, but we decide to stay in a good spirit and move on.
Right.
That is not
the
a
first line is you don't want to beef.
Exactly.
What is that this song? The first line is I don't want to beef.
But they say carnival is bacchanal.
Yeah.
So people want to hear that, and maybe too what happening is that some people maybe have their own experiences with certain people.
True.
So they're glad for a song like this. So they find, well, yeah, I go and sing that for whoever, and yeah. So they're using our song as a weapon. So hey, Ole, this song is not a weapon, right? But yeah, it's all love, man. It's all good. The music video should show people that too. That the vibe is all about love. That's what we on.
Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, and this is where I want to kind of strip away from just soca in general, but as you mentioned about life, where, to me, soca is about love, unity. Like it's a happy music.
Yeah.
Right. So when I hear Good Spirits, it really brings that vibe to me where I could play it around my kids. It's just a great energy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about playing a song and there's a bunch of cursing or vulgarity. Like it's
real
just,
explicit.
It's vibes.
That's one thing about full-blown songs. Sorry to cut you across, but like I always tell people, like our songs and our visuals have no fear. Play it for your child, play it for your grandparents or whatever. We ain't have none of that in it now. It's like we want to make it G now. Rated G for all ages.
But is that from like your own personal religious beliefs, or does that come from just your feeling about the music in general? Like, where does that come from then?
Everything. I mean, we trying to find a space too that we think is missing or needed. You know what I mean? Like, we're not following what is already there. What's already there is already there.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But there's a space for new roads and new avenues. And who want to sing about this, that, and the other, that's cool. but let us provide an alternative.
They're just making more space for us.
Yeah, let us provide an alternative.
And I feel like there needs to be a balance, right? Not the Marshall balance, but there needs to be a balance in the scene and in the music, right? But yeah, so on a personal level, when it comes to that positivity and reinforcing that, how do you deal with, because in life, there's obviously going to be disappointments, there's going to be, rejection, there's going to be always things that don't go exactly how you want it to go. So I guess for people watching, whether they are, up and coming writers, producers, artists, or just in general, any walks of life, how do you guys personally deal with that negativity that may come about in some shape or form?
Funny that I asked that because just, I think earlier today, when we were at the hotel, Kevin was saying he was just astounded by the fact that this song seems to be a prophecy on so many levels, where you could pick out almost every line and it has a bigger meaning. And so he was saying that the one day we go make it, we don't have to fake it. Like that as well, because when you're faced with all the negativity and the setbacks and whatever, that's our motto. Like, we don't need to try to fight up and spend too much energy on those things, because we know that in the grand scheme of things, it will work out. We believe that when you live good with people, when you stick to your morals, things would work out. Sometimes not the timing that you wanted to, but we believe that just be patient. A lot of people look at other people's perceived success, but they don't know what they did to get there. They don't know the kind of life that they live in, even with the money. It have so much wealthy people who you read of who suicidal, who depressed, who, So sometimes we focus on what we're missing or what we think we're missing, and that's your be all and end all. But sometimes you just need to look at what they have and be content and be happy. And so that's how we deal with all the negativity. We just focus on what we have, which is God and family and a nice, close team, a small circle. Only love in we circle.
Sure.
You take the line again. Prophecy. It's true. And I feel like, okay, let me ask you this. Do you listen to a lot of podcasts? Do you read books? Like, how do you reinforce that positive mindset for you?
I mean, I do read books.
Yeah, he's a nerd. He's a nerd. He wouldn't admit it, but he's a nerd.
I will admit it. I find being a nerd is a great thing. You know what I mean?
I haven't read a book since school days. No, for real. And that's because I was going to be tested on it. As long as there are no tests, I don't need to read no book. Yeah.
Nah, I like to read. It's just time. Is,
especially now.
Yeah, especially now. But I think that's why writing is really my first love.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, especially during school days and things, like, I only wanted to do like English and literature and things.
Same.
I didn't want to do nothing else, no science and maths and no. I mean, you have to, but so yeah, I remember my dad used to carry us in the library. He had a friend who was a librarian, and they had a he's always laughing at me when I tell this story because it's real nerdy for real. But it had like a special room in the back of the library with books that not outside in the front now.
Okay.
And she used to let us go in there and like take anything we want, any books we want. And I go in home with like 6, 7 books. And next week I need more.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I used to be, just reading all the time now.
I only used to take the comic books to go home to trace the characters and learn to draw. And I wasn't reading nothing.
Yeah. But that is why, like, language is a big thing with me. And, I hate to see when people spelling things wrong and using the wrong word. Like, that is one of my pet peeves.
If it's spelling Eskimo wrong and things,
here we go.
Like to see that.
Here we go. Good spirit. Well done. Well done. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we generally brought up to be content with what we have. Like, like, that's what our father instilled in us, and it just stick with us to this day too.
Yeah, because I was curious if that helps you with your writing style too. Because
for sure,
I feel like you don't write the typical way, as you guys mentioned. There's
old music that they used to play for us too, like our parents
music. For sure.
So even the format we started off writing, and I feel like at the point in time we started writing songs, in soca, and using bridges and things that we don't really use that again. We are not allowed to stop using that because songs shorter now. But at the point in time we started, I feel like not a lot of people used to actually write in that format. And our melodic structures and things like that. Marshall always used to say like, but is that Justin Bieber? I wish this, I'm singing these kind of weird thing. But he understood, how it stood out now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is our influence from early.
And so the funny thing is, plenty of people doesn't believe this when we say it, but we never grew up classically trained with anything with regard to music. We can't read music. We can't play any instruments. We never went to any music class. Nothing like that.
This is all self-taught.
So yeah. And it's just based on. I always say it's based on emotion.
The air and the feeling. The heart.
Feeling. Once it feels right, we go with it. And thanks to technology, you could use samples. You could it's easy to create now. So when you get something that gives you a certain feeling, we just run with it. So for example, Fog, I always give this story. The first time we met Kes was backstage at a show Marsha was performing. And First Class introduced us to Kes. Kes was like, hey bro, real nice to meet all your boy. I really love what all they did with Fog, the way it went from the minor to the major. And him and I were clueless as to what is this man talking about. Right. And I always said to myself, I want to be able to know what people are talking about when they say those kind of things, but we had no idea. And up to this day, I still have no idea. I don't know about no minor, no major.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of like a cheat code because all other musicians are trained to think a certain way based on the rules of music.
Right.
And we just going against that and just going based on feeling. And I think that would easily resonate with the listener when it's the emotion that piercing through. So you're not thinking chords and all the nice chords, and you're just going for emotion.
The listener also don't know about all that anyway.
That's true.
So sometimes, no, I'm not telling people don't go and study music. No. Don't get me wrong, But
everybody has their path, right?
Yeah.
But have you ever had a situation where you were doing it in a certain way? I mean, that one it worked out. But has it been a certain way where an artist or a different producer will come and say, nah, this is the wrong key, or you had to do this?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's cool too, because we know that we are not classically trained, so we know we'll be doing some things that are wrong or unconventional or whatever. And yeah, we very much open to collaboration. So if you find a better way to do it, cool, because once you're understanding our vision, then help us to get there.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I didn't realize that you had zero formal training, especially when I hear some of them rhythms.
I say we're guessing our way through this, right? True.
And even with the lyrics, okay, we talked about the Big Links and the whole thing with that, but even I remember Zoom Zoom, right? There were some lines in that song where I was
yeah.
You know what I mean? It real kicks.
Yeah.
But not in a diss kind of way, but just if you look you gotta love, I love you like I will love water. I think it was one line, right?
Yeah.
And even, there's all kind of thing. If
Marsha could find a girl and go and live off the land, then tell them who's me.
Who's me? You know what I mean? Well done. So where do these things, or have you ever worried that those artists may dig horrors if you mention them in that kind of way, or it's just been, they should know your intent?
Yeah, I never. You say that now, and I start to think, I wonder. Say it. Because I never thought about it, to be honest. I didn't think anybody who knows us, we're not malicious in any way. When it comes to our work, especially, is always just good vibes with us now.
Yeah.
So I would never say anything that I think is disrespectful about somebody, and I would never say something that is untrue.
Right.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I believe in the truth.
I
just want to live good.
You guys, you're very good at this. You're very good at this. You could be right.
We could do this all day. We could do this all day.
All right. So when it comes to decompressing, because right now, I mean, this is really the first year that I would say the traveling schedule is insane, right?
Yeah.
You're doing a lot more because of how, the Big Links Riddim and Good Spirits are doing. I've seen you on stage with Marshall with the full band and getting big introduction and breaking down tunes. You're right and all kind of thing, So how do you guys decompress? How do you not allow this newfound fame and notoriety change who you two are?
I will answer for him and I will let him answer for me.
Okay.
Right? He would just watch Netflix whole day. He would watch a whole series.
Let me scrap this.
in a
I don't like this
morning.
format. Let me answer for me. I don't like.
I know him. Because him and my wife speak a lot, and he would always be ahead of her in any series that they're watching. And yeah, she just be like, "Nah, he's sick, boy." So I know him. So your turn. Answer for me.
He don't do nothing.
No, remember you said you would never lie about somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
No. He does decompress by going on YouTube and learning something else to do. He really ridiculous in terms of that's why we call him Slash. You understand? Producer, / writer, / graphic artist, / everything. Because he always going on learning to do something else. That is what he is doing.
So I'm a nerd in my own way.
YouTube
Creative
king.
nerd, yeah.
He learning everything. That's how we build our studio. YouTube.
Yeah, we build our studio
I'm
from
not
it,
even joking.
Serious. So even like the logo, you built this, like you just learned how to.
Yeah. I didn't do the animation, but I did the logo, and then we had someone do the animation for
Oh,
us.
see.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love visuals and like fashion and all those kind of things. So yeah, that's my thing. I try to look at the whole picture and see what we need apart from the. I know I always say after Vibes Cartel, he's the baddest songwriter in the Caribbean. Right? So I know I don't need to write a next song.
Yeah.
He could handle all that. So let me think about all the other things that we would need. Logo and all the business stuff and the outfits that we wear on stage and all them kind of thing. Yeah, that's me. That's my fun. And that's how the team works. So now that actually prior to the Big Links, we actually started assembling a team because we wanted to take things up a notch. So we kind of building out the team now to make sure that we cover all aspects and we look the partner.
He's also listened to way more music than me. Like in his free time, like probably while he doing something, he might listen.
Yeah, like while I'm doing graphics, I would just
pause or some kind of thing. I don't really listen to music.
So what is your favorite just to when you're zoning out and you're doing
Afrobeats for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Since I had my day job back in maybe 2013 or 14, I had a coworker who was from Tanzania. She was like, "Do you know what Afrobeats?" I was like, "Nah." And she put me onto the Banj and One Day Cole and even Wizkid when he was very young. And I actually introduced Marshall to Afrobeats, to Timaya when he had songs like Plantain Boy and them kind of things. And yeah, so I took all those songs to Marshall and then it came full circle because now we're writing collabs with him and these same Afrobeats artists and that kind of thing. But yeah, Afrobeats is because it's very similar to Soca as well. But I think that the sound that they craft is still on a higher level than Soca, their musicianship, because it's things that they use musicians who specialize in certain things. So like the drummer would be an actual drummer they would bring in, and the bass guitarist, and their musicians are very well trained, and they could hear it in the music. And I think that too is why they have such a worldwide appeal, because they just could get the best emotion out of the music, the chords and the way that they craft the melodies and that kind of thing. So that's my favorite because I feel like subconsciously it soaks in to my system where I could now replicate some of what they do or at least get as close to as possible, and then we could collaborate with whoever to get the vision and help us to get over the finish line.
Because you guys wrote Fling It Up, right?
Yeah.
So with that, because I thought I heard maybe it was Marshall or somebody did an interview where they were talking about with that collab, it's almost like he wanted to take it to the Afrobeats way, but they were like, no, I want to do Soca or something like that, right?
Right, yeah.
Yes.
So that's how you came up with Fling It Up, like you wanted to do it more from that perspective? Is that how it came about?
Yeah, for sure. Because we went to Nigeria with Marshall, and so we know that he had the potential to do some collabs, but we were more straying towards the Afrobeat side and trying to make Marshall go that side. But then they were like, nah, we want a genuine Soca record. And so he went back to the drawing board, and that's how it started.
Yeah, well, Tano had sent
the instrumental.
A draft of an instrumental that he had. We wrote the song to it, and then we went and added more like soca elements to make it even more soca, because that is what Davido wanted. He wanted they weren't playing about that.
Yeah.
Like they wanted a soca record. All right, cool.
Yeah. You know what's funny is like we always think that like our music isn't good enough for outside.
Yep.
But the outside want that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and it's to really understand our self-worth at times.
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
understand
for sure.
for sure.
how powerful that
We learning that more now, I think.
Yeah.
Especially since that Nigeria trip.
And it's not that we have everything correct, but I think we need to be intelligent now to pick apart what the wider world wants from soca. It might not be all the elements, it might be the energy. It might be the drum pattern, the tempo. Like, you know, we could find certain elements that would appeal to them. And then we'll be like, all right, cool. We have these elements, but we're still missing a bunch of things. Let's see now what we could mix and match but still keep it us and still keep it unique to us, still give them what they want.
Yeah.
And I think that's our mission right now in terms of how we approaching our music. We always wanted to sound like home, but at the same time, we don't want to limit ourselves to the festival.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
There should be no seasons to this.
Yeah,
No
for
way.
sure.
You know,
for
it's
sure.
not just about carnival season. And it's funny, I remember there's a song I loved, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm pretty sure you guys wrote it. It was the one with Marshall and Boys to Men.
Yeah.
Did you write that one too?
Can't let
Can't
you
Let Go.
Yeah, Can't Let
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
Beautiful song.
So the same guy, Nathaniel, who I
Yeah.
told you was the third member,
Yeah.
is he actually wrote and produced almost all of the song. Well, Kevin wrote Marshall parts.
Oh,
He wrote Boyz II Men's
Men
parts.
Yep.
Oh,
And
same.
he did the main production, and then Red Boys added production to it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful record, and for whatever reason, and I mean, Boyz II Men flew in for that Marshall
Yes.
Monday, or, you know,
Yes.
and it just never catch. And I mean, I don't know if sometimes we try too hard to get to the other side, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you
yeah.
lose the elements
Yeah.
that the other side wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that, you
Yeah,
know?
it's true. It's a thin line we need to balance. For us, it was a dream come true because we grew up on Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
So he does always give the story. We flew to Las Vegas with Marshall to work with him in the studio. And when Wani and them come to the studio and they ready to record, they asking him, like, they stop in and like, yo, how do I sing this part?
Wow.
And he like, what? Like,
You asking me?
Why
Yeah,
would
exactly.
You ask me? Why would you ask me?
So he have to sing
Anything you
and
do.
Marshall like, hey, sing it now. But yeah, that was a real moment for us because these guys, like, Wani is arguably the best vocalist ever.
Mhm.
And for him to be asking my brother how to sing something, that was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been a highlight for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Never
for
forget
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You have any other like personal highlights of things that have happened in the past that you could remember that just stand out?
Some of them I don't think we could say. You know what I mean? We don't want to expose anybody.
Don't say we because I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's have some studio sessions that is just be real vibes, but you know
Okay.
what I mean?
And what, like the song never came
They-
out, or
No, it's just
Just
what
the-
you see in this
Yeah,
Oh,
studio
yeah,
session.
yeah.
It's like, what?
Okay,
the
okay.
experience in the studio is crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Like to see how some people approach their music
well,
and record.
Yeah, like
and-
just that same Fling It Up record.
Yeah.
When we went to New York to
Mhm.
record with Davido, it was crazy.
Mhm.
And that was Quad Studio, which is where Tupac got shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
So
okay.
the studio already had, a story behind it, and it's a legendary space and that kind of thing. So, it's,
Well, he
it's-
has his big entourage, so there's a lot of people in the
yeah,
studio. when
things
he
that we're
was-
not accustomed to in the soca
Yeah.
world.
And
Right.
they never did soca before, so the energy and the speed of it and things. So
Yeah.
everybody is like,
Yeah.
It's,
bro, it
it's
was
just
a-
alcohol
it was
all
a
over the floor,
party. It was a party.
speakers falling down. Yeah, it was crazy.
Nice.
There were maybe at least 20 people in the studio. Yeah, yeah,
That's a little ridiculous.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a smaller.
Smaller space in this.
Yeah,
by
small
far.
space and 20 people. Yeah,
It was crazy, bro.
he actually didn't even get to sit
I
for the entire session.
standing
Yeah.
up on the outside looking on
Yeah,
because it was so wild.
Yeah. That's
It was
funny.
vibes.
So the question I want to ask you before was about the Netflix. Give me your 2 latest series that you finished. I'm just curious, like what stuff you just watch on
don't
Netflix.
embarrass yourself. I choose 2 cool
Real,
ones.
real random things. Like I'm watching some millionaire thing right now. I can't remember the proper name of it, but it's like a game show almost.
Oh, I think it just come out recently with some
the
briefcase.
last episode come out, I think yesterday or day before. So I
Okay.
didn't get to see the last 2 episodes yet.
Okay.
But trust me, he'll see it
But-
before the show.
Nah, I ain't no time. But as soon as I go home, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the
So you like
last
game
thing.
shows, them kind of things?
I
With
like
reality
all kind of
TV?
things.
He like
all
all
kind
kind
of
of
things.
Once it's taken his mind away from music,
Yeah,
Okay.
he's gonna
and
watch
that's
it.
why I watch like a few in a row. Like I need to And I don't even remember it sometimes as soon as it's done, you know.
Mm.
Like, I don't even remember what I just watched, you know. But I just needed not to think about music or lyrics.
I got it.
Like, sometimes these things just be going through my head all the time now. I need to find a way to quiet it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just watched like 4 episodes or some random thing. And that's why I don't really watch movies. I find like it's not enough now.
Okay.
The movie will finish quick and I still go back to work. So I need to watch a series. If it are plenty seasons, better yet.
Wow.
I just want to watch.
Should watch Survivor or
Yeah, for
something.
a good while. Yeah, well, I really like Survivor. Survivor is one of my favorite shows. Yeah,
So
for sure.
you do like those reality game
Yeah,
kind of thing?
yeah.
Okay,
I like a lot of that. Yeah.
I actually watch those things as well, the Survivor and Naked and Afraid and
Wait.
I like some of them
watch
things
that
too.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that about you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, the last one I watched, and I guess it's because I have a young son too, it was Adolescence.
I watch
It's
that.
like it's a short series though,
so
so it's probably not long enough for
the
you, but
acting in it, top notch.
real good. Because they
Really?
shot it like all in one take. So like the way the camera follows, there's no cuts. And
Right.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right.
Yeah. It's well done. So yeah, I was just curious the kind of style. So you like them reality games. So not too much the dating thing. It's more like
Nah, I just watch all that too.
Trust me.
I watch all that too. Love Island.
Yeah.
All them.
There's no bias.
Things.
You just
I
watch
watch
everything.
all that too.
He making sure to get his money worth from that Netflix subscription. I'm telling you.
Listen, and the
Wherever,
price keep going up, you know.
Yeah, and so he just keep watching more.
But
I would more gravitate towards the Game of Thrones and the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. There's one named C with Jason Momoa.
No, I don't know that one. Okay.
That's one where everyone is blind.
Okay.
But there's some fighting scenes and that kind of thing. And so the few people that have sight, they are considered witches. And because they have more power than the blind people. So that one, trust me, it's on.
the premise for it like real different.
I can't remember what it's on, but yeah, that one is good.
Let's see. Okay, I'll look out for that.
Yeah, a few others as well that I really like Ozark.
That
To
was
me, Ozark
the
was
thing with
top
Ozark,
notch.
right? It start real slow.
Yeah.
I find like, you had to give it a chance.
Yes, for sure.
Kind of like all your music, I guess, right? You had to give it a chance.
Yes.
But then when it
Breaking
catch
Bad
you-
as well. Breaking Bad and all start slow and then you realize, nah, boy, this is very bad.
Yeah, when it catch you, it's just on repeat.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Just like the music, you see?
Yeah.
You see how we come full circle? You see how they think this work? No,
That's
but
art. That's art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, honestly, I am so happy for all of you because as somebody who has been following your career as songwriters, producers, and to me, it's always been quality, right?
Thank you.
From like Love Hotline. Listen,
That's one of my favorites too.
I
That's one of my favorites.
can we re-release? Can we do something? Like I don't understand. And maybe, as you even mentioned with Full of Love, like if you re-release or do a new visual or something, maybe more people will catch on to it now because you have more eyes on all you know. You know?
The thing is,
Right.
a lot of people been asking me that same question if we could do something, but we have so much in store for people that I don't even feel we have time to go back to the old ones because we're so excited about what is to come. We want to do an EP to release it hopefully in June or July. And so right now, amid all the tour dates and that kind of thing, we're working on that because we want to show people what else Soca could be.
Okay.
And so we trust that they would do their research and go back to the Full of Love and the Hotline Rhythm and all that, but also come along for us on this journey. So yeah, I feel
So
that
this EP coming will be all new, except for I guess Good Spirits. I would assume. Like
Good Spirits will make an appearance on it, but yeah, all new stuff.
Nice.
All new stuff. Yeah.
Nice. It's funny, because even when you mention Free Like a Bird, I assumed it's because Greatest Ben Over took off that they rush back to you and say, "Give us our next song." But they had that from before.
Yeah, we actually tell them like,
No.
Hold it.
Yeah.
But they just love it and they are accustomed putting out songs way faster than us.
Yeah.
So I understand their process, and I mean it's your product at that point. You know, what I mean, you do what you want to do with how you see your artist's career going. If you want to play it out, cool. But my vote was to hold it now. Well, our vote was to hold it back a little bit. But I mean, I understand everybody different in terms of how they, do their thing, and that's fine.
Okay, so for artists, whether they're young, upcoming, or some established, how do you get something from Full Blown? Do you have to respect get Full Blown on the telephone? Well done. You guys are real good at this.
Well, let me say right now,
Thank God that telephone.
As we say, yeah. So at least whoever listening only know when only message are not lying. We working on a project. So it's very difficult right now
To study other.
to
Right.
do, you know what I mean? It would be dumb, I have to say, for us not to take this moment to focus on where we are at with our artist career. You know what I mean? If we neglect this moment, we would be stupid. So we are not stupid.
Right.
And right now we taking some time to, you know, work on our project and put out a body of work that is sometime in the making, really and truly. We didn't realize what was happening, but things seem to work out in that way, you know.
So, okay, let me ask you this quickly then. Was it an intentional thing to focus more on your own personal artistry? Because I find for a lot of writers, once as you mentioned, once your personal thing kind of takes off, even though you may have had so much success writing for others, it takes a backseat because you are trying to find your own space. So that time that you would have crafted music for others is really about yourself.
Right.
But
Right.
For me, it goes back to what I was saying in terms of why I'm actually here.
Got it.
I honestly, if there was, well, when we started working with voice, maybe I thought he would be that person. These songs that I might be singing now, like I thought he might be that person because that was my vision for what we would do along with him in terms of his career and stuff. Like he would be the one, you know, charting that course now. And over the years, I haven't seen anybody fill this lane that I think we are in now. And now, yes, we're focusing on doing our own music, but it's really to chart that course now and help build a road so that others could walk on it now. And I don't have long in helping with building this road, you know. But, you know, we do it now and see who comes along with us. And then it there for other people to just, you know, run.
Yes.
Or drive or whatever you want to do. Just do it your way now.
I think too that our goal was always to to offer a difference. And so we hoped, as you say, like with voice or with any other artist. But then when they realize that those artists would have their own goals for themselves.
Right.
Sometimes you have to now kind of dumb down your style to appeal to, you know, the audience that they're trying to capture. So now that we realize our style work with our audience, then we had to hit them. And we love the fact that we can keep giving our style and that there are people out there who love it. So we would continue that for as long as we could.
Yeah. And it's funny because your style is obviously unique to you, but your style has evolved, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So from what you have built, it's going to be difficult, I think, for almost other artists to understand how to execute that, right? But you yourself can be true to you as opposed to trying to write for somebody else and tell them, nah, stay the course. This is the direction. Just hold on. It may not come yet. Hold on. When it's you, though, you guys can be as patient as you want because it's your own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It is. For me, I think people a lot of the upcoming artists or people who I think flying under the radar right now, I think they could just draw a bit from I hope they could draw a bit from, you know, what our journey, because there's years we in the industry and people don't know the things we have done.
Right.
So if you in it for a few years, bro, that's okay.
Take it.
Take it easy. Well, I can't do the work for you, but do the work for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just keep putting in the work and trust that it will get you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, stay true to it. Stay true.
Because the first time you guys sang your own song would have been, what year was, Palm Wine would have been the first, right?
Yeah, Full of Love.
And that was
right
after
from the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what?
That was
22, 23?
I think.
22 going into 23 or just two?
Yeah, I think 22.
22, because 23 would have been Night Shift.
Okay, and then
And 24
would have been Wasi into 25.
Yes.
Big Links. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2022. So when you first decided you're going to be the artist as opposed to just writing for everybody, was it just that, this song is so good, I want to do it, or nobody else picked up the song and we don't want the song to waste? Like, what made you guys decide this is the year?
Full of Love felt too much like me.
Mm.
That is how I feel about it. Like
Mhm.
that is me. Those things that was said, like I feel that's how I
Big lyrics in
talk.
that song, you know?
That's my style now.
Yeah.
And it's funny
And
because the production felt like me.
Okay.
So I guess it married together well because I had nothing to do with the writing and the singing. He sang the full song. I just did the production. But I just produced what I felt was cool and was nice and was different for Soca. And then the rest was on him. And yeah, so.
yeah. And I from the time I hear that beat, I was like, bro, this real bad.
Mm-hmm.
The musicality now, like it crazy to me. I remember we played it in some writing camp we had for some days in New York for people who don't really know soca, and there's like, well, I've heard things, soca songs before, but like this is different. Like
Yeah.
these chords and these, like they don't use that in soca, like
Yeah.
So I mean, I felt good to hear them speak about it like that.
Mm.
But yeah, that song was it was us.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody else, same way I feel about Good Spirits, I don't think anybody else could have sang that song.
Right.
Like that was us,
Mhm.
and originally the plan was for me to sing alone and him to just produce. That was the plan.
And then we strayed. And then just before Big Links Riddim, could ask him. One day I say, come on, I don't want to sing anymore. I just want to be your producer. He was like, nah, boy, don't feel the same on the stage without you. Think about it for a little while. I was like, all right, cool, I'll sing with you. And then Good Spirits.
Yeah.
And now he done. You understand?
Yeah, no, let me dance and thing.
No,
Yeah, full artist.
All right.
How's it feel when you hit that stage though? Do you still get stage fright, or is it like you calm down, it's easy?
Nah, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And it's funny because with Wasi, we had one booking in Trinidad last year. Peace Side, I can't remember what's the name of the event, but it's a guy who, we grown close to. He supports all the upcomers, right? He loves the hybrid stuff.
Mm.
And so he booked us for the event. And I remember the sound system was bad. The band didn't really do what we rehearsed. And, we are not seasoned artists. So it really threw us off. The space where we had to perform in, like you had to literally stand on the spot.
Right.
Because the bass man right next to you, the drummer right there, like,
Yeah.
so,
monitors right
yeah,
here, so-
you have nowhere to go. You just had to stand up and it's bad music and we had to do that. And I remember going home, one of my friends messaged and she was like, I want to ask you a question, but I don't want you to get angry. So I was like, all right, cool. She said, do you have fun when you're performing? And I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I explained to her that I know it was a bad experience because of how many things went wrong and we're not seasoned enough to know how to combat that. And when I told him about what she was saying, he said, bro, let me tell you something, yeah? He said, when you have a popular song, you would see how different it is to perform as opposed to when you're performing and you're trying to convince people that this is a good song while you're performing it.
Right.
Even if bad things happen,
Yeah.
while we singing Good Spirits, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
So right
But
now,
if we were
nobody
singing
frightened
Full
at
of
all.
Love or whatever, a song that they might not know, then they sign up and watch it, then you start to hear all the problems they might give in, then you start to hear all them things. But when
True.
we singing Good Spirits, nobody care about that. And that is how it is in the real world. And I just get ticked off about some of these things, because people start to pick at things
Yeah,
that
they
I
become
find
very
real
critical.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you go and stand up in a museum and you're watching a painting, you're not going to watch some little brushstroke and say, what went on here or whatever. You dare not question that because it's up in a museum. Bro, when I'm up on the stage singing Good Spirits, don't question nothing because it's art. It's art. Like I'm not perfect, but it's art now. Like,
we never claim to be perfect.
understand
Just
it. Like,
enjoy it. Yeah.
enjoy the art for what it is. Don't be overly critical about that. Now, I'm not saying an artist can't go up there and do something wrong, It's our things, it have rules to everything, but like, let us enjoy the art as opposed to be critical about little things that really, don't matter at the end of the
Yeah, you're right. And I feel like in our community, unfortunately, this is a common occurrence, right?
Yeah, and that is a pet peeve of mine. No?
Yeah.
And we tend to focus when it's the little artists it happening to, which I find is very unfair.
Yeah.
Because I love Marshall. He lose his voice. He went and do a whole
that's
set for
CIC.
however long, horse. And yeah, people kind of complain or whatever, but you jump
But
up
not
and,
to-
you, and you
yeah.
deserve the party. And
Yeah.
yes, you deserve it. So jump up. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy it for what it is now.
but
But
let
if,
that be-
if it was
right.
me or somebody, you know what I mean? It's like real. Everybody want to, pick. So that is something I wish that we would do less of now as a community now.
I agree with you, man. So before I let all you go, what do you see as the vision for soca music? Like, let's say 5 more years, where do you see full blown and the soca music industry?
I see ourselves being pioneers in our own way. As he was saying, we kind of trying to chart a course. I want to see, so there's one thing that I say, why we don't see people performing with a live string section. We only see that once a year for Marshall Monday when he used to have Marshall Monday. Other than that, there's a lot in soca that we never see again until Marshall Monday come around. In the other mainstream genres, you see those things all the time. But we are not as expressive and artistic and experimental as the mainstream genres. And I think that is what has been pigeonholing soca for a lot of the time. If we go to, let's say, a Giveon show, for example, he would sing countless songs that we do not know. We take out Shazam and I like this boy, where's this? A soca artist dare not do that.
Right.
Because they just want the hype. So they sing only the songs that they know, that people know. Then the next artist comes sing. So we have a lot of catalog that's being lost.
That's true.
So those are the kind of things that I would love to see in soca. I want people to be brave and take people on a journey. The fet need to slow down sometimes. Sometimes they might have a spotlight and a standing mic and they could sing soca like that too. You don't have to just be like them dogs and them who in stress and they just up and down, left and right and nah man. We have so much more that we could do.
Right.
But and we have to be brave too to give people a difference. And it's not that we're going to be totally different and like we hate soca and nah, that is not the message at all. But slowly but surely we want to introduce little differences and hope that the people could accept it. And so I hope that by our bravery we encourage others to be brave as well, and they too would do things that we didn't even think about, and we help each other move on that journey.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's dope. It's funny you say that because something coming, we'll talk off the camera, but
I like to hear that.
now I had to hold back this podcast to release after I announce the thing. It go look like a thief.
Yeah.
Oh, you see all your prophesizing. Oh.
Yeah, boy. But now
thank you.
I
Yeah.
feel I just want to say, before that, soca is the next big thing. I definitely feel so. Everywhere we have traveled to, people love soca, It's just sometimes when we in our homes, we in our own spaces, we don't know that the rest of the world really looking. But in all different genres, people looking at it might not be all the artists, but they're looking at what's happening, you know what I mean, and who's popping, and soca is the next thing to blow.
Yeah.
I feel like the world was missing some happy music too. Like when dancehall, like
Made you
Elephant
dance,
Man and Sean Paul and make everybody dance and make everybody happy. Now dancehall a little more dark. So it missing what is that genre that making people dance and be happy, and soca is it. Soca is it. So
No, you're right, man. Soca, there's a light with this music.
100%.
And it's, I mean, for me personally, who's been able to DJ different, clubs, I was DJing a mainstream club that's live to air on the station I play at. And there's certain things that you could play that catch everybody, right? And, obviously they'll know the Tempted to Touch, that Kevin Little turned me on.
Yeah.
But in that vein, Big Links, like when that played,
Right.
and again, it's full rhythm.
Right.
Greatest band over all them girls singing these songs.
Yeah.
And this is something that usually couldn't happen.
Right.
You have to wait for a few years before Roll It Gal, Allison Hines Catcher,
Right,
or whatever,
yeah,
Fast
yeah.
Wine, okay, cool. But what is happening now at soca, I find people are catching it a lot quicker and holding on to it, and I think it's a good sign. So
yes.
I feel like, you might be onto something there.
Yeah, now is
Next
the
big
time.
thing.
Now is the time.
Yeah, now is the time. Well, thank you again for the transparency and for,
Man,
the
no
honesty
problem at all.
and,
Thanks for having us.
and the good spirits. Next time we'll have some real spirits instead of this bottle or whatever, you know?
That ain't no problem at all.
That
That's no
would
problem at all. Let the next time be tomorrow then.
There we go. Therapy Lounge. Thank you guys. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I
man.
love every
Bless
time.
up.